Okay, so you've seen some you've had some major frustrations with the DOJ and with criminal referrals, and you said that finally that logjam is getting loosed a little bit, and you're really happy about that. What about Dr. Fauci? A lot of news about Fauci. Boy, what a heater that was thrown his direction from Tulsi Gabbard. He's been a thorn in your paw. He's now been subpoenaed by Rand Paul. What's going to happen there?
Well, I think Rand's going to get him in and ask him questions about the information that Tulsi released, because he lied to the House Oversight Committee. We had a select committee, a COVID select committee that was led by Dr. Brad Winstrup from Ohio. He's a retired member now, but we did a criminal referral because he lied to Congress. He lied about destroying emails. He lied about telling employees not to put things in email so he could withhold transparency from the American public at a time when we should have had optimal transparency.
Yeah.
So, Rand has always been focused on whether or not we were funding gain of function research. He would say in committee hearings, well, it wasn't gain of function research, it was something else. And I think with what Tulsi released, there's more than enough evidence to prove that Dr. Fauci lied about that. So hopefully there'll be another criminal referral in addition to ours in the House from the Senate with respect to Dr. Fauci. And surely to goodness, this new and improved Department of Justice will do the right thing. No one has ever been held accountable for COVID. I mean, you just look at public education. Whether you like public education or not, we suffered because of the requirements by Dr. Fauci and recommendations by Dr. Fauci that kids shouldn't go to school, even though there was never evidence young people were dying of COVID or suffering any health consequences from COVID. So our kids went, and they're behind today. Doesn't matter if they're a senior or if they're in seventh grade. They missed a whole year of public education, and then you saw what it did to our national debt with the ridiculous reaction by Congress, and that's a lot of Republicans' fault, on PPP loan programs and stimulus by the Democrats. And I mean, that just ran our debt up even more, all because of one man who never was truthful about the fact that COVID started in a lab that he was funding in China on a mad science project.
What is the route? And you're the best in the business at this. You've been there with Hunter Biden. What is the route to actually prosecute? Are we just going to test the legal theories in court over this pardon?
Well, look, we brought in all the people in the Biden administration that had anything to do with the pardon process.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people get caught up over the auto pen. Don't even worry about the auto pen. Don't even worry, Benny, that they used the auto pen to sign it, because I don't know that that's a winning case in court. What's a winning case in court is the fact that we brought all these people in, the chiefs of staff for Jill Biden, the chiefs of staff for Joe Biden, all the administrative assistants. No one ever could testify under oath that Joe Biden had a conversation with them about pardoning anybody. We subpoenaed all the emails. We subpoenaed the daily calendar of Joe Biden. There was never a meeting about pardon. There was never any discussion. And the president has the authority to pardon. And there's no limits on that authority, which I think there should be. I think a lot of presidents have abused the pardon process. I'm not happy with a few of the Trump pardons. But at the end of the day, the president has the constitutional authority to do that. Now, whether or not you can use the auto pen, I don't even want to get in that discussion. But we've done all the hours and hours of depositions to prove Joe Biden, as president of the United States, did not authorize those pardons. And that should be enough evidence in court to sustain an executive order by President Trump to declare all those pardons null and void.
And that would be how you'd begin prosecutions against a number.
If he did it by executive order, somebody's going to file a suit. Somebody's going to file a suit saying, no, that's not constitutional because the president has authority to do it. And Joe Biden did it. But there's no evidence he did it. His staff did it. The Constitution does not say the chief of staff for the first lady can pardon people. It does not say the first lady can pardon people. It doesn't say Hunter Biden can pardon people, or Ron Klain or anyone else on Joe Biden's staff. They don't have the authority to pardon people. Only the president, and there's no evidence that Joe Biden ever authorized a single pardon. Forget about the auto pen. The evidence is he was never the one to say, yes, I've reviewed the documentation, I've looked at the evidence, and this person deserves a pardon.
I never regret asking you this question. So here we go. What happens next? I know that you sort of have the nexus, the lightning in a bottle in the oversight committee, and you've been trying to deliver. Now you have a Department of Justice that's finally working with you. Where should we be focusing now when it comes to cleaning up the federal government? What's next?
We should be focusing on where we should always be focusing on the oversight committee: waste, fraud, and abuse. And there's so much fraud in just the Medicare and Medicaid programs. And a lot of people that don't know much about Medicare and Medicaid, you know, young people like you, Benny, you're not on Medicaid, obviously, and you're not old enough to get on Medicare. You probably don't think a lot about it. But I will tell you, it is being raped by fraudsters. And it's not just Somali fraudsters. It's not just the Sudanese fraudsters. It's being raped by a lot of medical providers. Some of them are credible medical providers that are overbilling. Some of them are fly-by-nights, like what you've seen in Minneapolis, that are 100% American. They're whiter than I am. So it's not a racial thing. We have a system where the federal government, especially with Medicaid, the federal government provides all this federal money for Medicaid, but they send it to the states to administer. And I believe in a lot of the states, especially the Democrat states, they have the attitude, well, this is federal money. It's not our money. We, you know, if some of it's lost to fraud, then these Democrat governors, you know, they don't care. Well, the taxpayers care. And you know, it does no good to identify fraud and then nobody go to jail. But we've seen about 200 people go to jail over Medicare and Medicaid fraud, thanks to Vice President Vance and thanks to Todd Blanche's leadership at the Department of Justice. And I think we're going to see a whole lot more. And if people start going to jail, then I think the fraud will I don't want to say it'll stop, but it'll slow down significantly.
They just went and retrieved some scumbag from Turkey who had billions of dollars in fraud and brought him back in shackles. And so that's that's a great good sign.
You know, that's great. That's great. We'll never get that money back because once it goes to a foreign country, you can forget about it. But the guy's in custody, and I'm happy about that.
Just like USAID, Congressman. Just like you, Mr. Chairman. Just like USAID. What a mess. People should go to prison for that one too. Okay. Funny how libs are broke and communists are losing all across the world now that USAID is shut down. It's incredible pattern recognition.
It is.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Everybody follow Chairman Jamie Comer. And what we hope for better things for the great state of Kentucky. We're really excited to see what happens when there's no Tillis or Cassidy or Cornyn or McConnell in the Senate. And we think it's going to be like a very, very different vibe. So we're hoping for the best there. Godspeed, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Benny. Appreciate it. Thanks.